Okay, guys, now we have our two pieces like I showed you before, the top part which is straight and the bottom part which is straight but cut on the bias, and the bottom part which is slanted but cut on the straight of grain. Okay, so now we're going to pin them, right? And I will show you something about pinning things like on the diagonal like this. You have to give a little bit, like half inch. We're going to sew half inch, so you measure half inch here really, and also on this side, so that when you sew it, you see it comes out straight on this side and on this side. So thumbs up this video if this kind of thing has ever happened to you. You sew something and it doesn't come out straight on either sides, okay? So now what will happen is after we've pinned this, we just sew this down straight with whatever seam allowance that we have determined. I am using half an inch seam allowance for mine, and let's get going. So this is our fabric all sewn, right? Half inch seam allowance, and if you can see my edges are like aligned. Okay, so I'll do the same to the other ones and get back to you. Okay, so guys, I have joined my top and bottom pieces, right? And I just wanted to show you guys an aerial view of what everything looked like. Now, if we weren't doing, the style line of, cutting the middle of this and joining it together, this is how your 6-piece skirt would look like, okay? Because we have 6 pieces, 2, 4, 6, right? There will just be that pattern piece that we cut out, right? To just be 6, and you just join them, right? And put your waistband and put your closure. But because we have this style line going on, right? So we had to join the top and the bottom pieces first. Now, what I would like to say is that if you are, starting out, if this is your first time, you would, like to make it easier, bigger prints, bigger stripes are necessary, and less, like maybe to just have the blue and the cream, but big stripes, they're easier to match until you get more familiar with things. Okay, all right. Okay, guys, this is an example of what I have sewn up. This one didn't match up so good, but you see what I mean, that the points need to match. Okay, but you can see every other thing matches, right? Even on the insides, which I have ironed, everything matches. Okay, so now I am trying to do this side as well. I have matched up my points. Okay, see what I was telling you about pinning, right? Then everything is not going to um match up 100%, but you want to at least give it a try. So what you do is, let me get some pins, right? You open up, see that it is matching up, and pin. I'll show you guys on this side, right? So bearing in mind, I'm going for half inch seam allowance. I'm going to open this part up, right? You hold it down, open it up, it matches from where you think the half inch seam allowance would be, you pin, right? This is another tricky spot. I open, you see here is not aligning so much, so I'll pull it down a bit, right? And hold it. Get my pin. Make sure the seam allowances are holding up. Right, open it up again. Yes, good. And pin. Okay. Go further down. Open it up. It's matching. Especially the big parts. You want to make sure those are matching up really well. So pin. And this part. Pin as well. Okay. Now for the sewing, we are going to start sewing from here because this part is more important, right? We want to make sure everything here aligns before we start bothering about this top part. This top part, we're not really bothered about it aligning so much. Okay, so let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, so we you have to be going slow at these delicate parts, right? Okay, guys, so this is what we sewed so far. As you can see, it matches, right? Just keep, it might not match completely at the first try. So you just keep on, if it doesn't, you unpick and pin again, right? Just keep at it till it works. So I'm going to do the other side, then I will come back with the zip. I'll show you how to do that one as well. Okay, right. Okay, guys, I am installing my invisible zip, right? And if you don't know how to install an invisible zip, I have a playlist on YouTube for how to install different types of zips. I will link that up in the cards for you. But this time we have the added challenge of matching up this seam that runs here and these chevron stripes that we are trying to create. Okay, so I have just gone ahead and sewn one side of my zip. Now I will try to sew the other side, and it's the same thing as before. You just try and match things up, right? Remember to take into consideration your seam allowance, and let me see if I can make that any brighter, if it helps. Okay, so you want to make sure it lines up properly. Okay, and pin. So there are certain points that I really want to match up. Okay, like this point, and I want these chevron stripes to go in the same direction. So I hand basted it, right? Hand basting works so that you hold it in place, right, while you sew. okay? And it's invisible zip. You just be prepared to that you might have to go through a couple of times before it fits, but hand basting cuts down the work by 3/4. I'm very serious. So just hand baste the parts that you really need to match up, right? Then you sew, right? Then it's the same process for down here, right? You just match. Then these ones you can just pin and sew. I mean, you can hand baste if you want as well, but pinning, like we've seen in the other ones I've done, pinning works as fine. But this, because of the added challenge of the zip, hand basting for that extra bit of security is very crucial. Okay, I'll show you guys when I'm done. Hey guys, so this is our skirt. This is the back with the zip. This is the back with the invisible zip. Okay. This is the front, obviously. So first things first, as you can see here, I forgot to do this at the beginning when it was just the individual pieces. Anything cut on the bias should be stay stitched so that it doesn't grow, because my waistline ended up growing to like it was supposed to be 34 inches, it grew to 39. So remember that. Now the next thing we have to do is to attach the waistband, and for that, if you've been sewing skirts with me, you know that the front takes a dip, like a 1/2 inch dip. So in order to know where to do that, you know that this is the center front, right? And it's center front, center back. And if you fold it like this, this is where your side seams would have been, right? But because we're sewing a 6-piece skirt, there is no side seam. If we were sewing 8, there would have been a side seam. 8 or 4, there would have been a side seam. So this is where our side seam will be. We will now, put it this way. We will now take out 1/2 inch from here and taper it all the way to the side seam here, okay? Or maybe even just halfway here. Okay, so that will be 1/2 inch down from the center front, okay? Half inch, right? Then I will just do this till it gets here. Alrighty. Hope you can see cut. Okay, so I'm just going to run another stay stitch, right? I'm just going to run another stay stitch over the side, then we'll cut. See, now it has the dip, so now it's going to fit better. Okay, so now we'll cut the waistband, which, if you can remember, I wanted it to be 3/4 inch waistband. So it's going to be 3/4 inch here, 3/4 inch for the back and 1/2 inch on each side for the seam allowance. So that will be a total of 3/4, 3/4, 1.5 plus 1 inch for the seam allowance. That is 2.5. So I'll get that done and come back and show you guys. Okay guys, so this is our waistband. Let's bring this up closer. See, this is a 3/4 inch plus 1/2 inch seam allowance, and this is the back, which I have already folded in, and I have I have interfaced it just to give it some structure, right? So I'm going to, sew 1/2 inch here. Bring you guys closer a bit. I'm going to sew 1/2 inch here, flip this over, right? Flip this over and stitch in the ditch to close it up, right? Flip this over like this. I didn't really want a huge waistband. Okay, so this is how it's going to be all around the skirt. Okay, so we'll go to the sewing machine and sew that up right now.